being in Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Senator, on Marjorie Taylor Greene, she has questioned whether a plane hit the Pentagon on 9/11, said the shootings in Las Vegas and Parkland High School were pre-staged, that the Clintons crashed John F. Kennedy Jr.'s plane, that the California wildfires were started by Jewish lasers. I know that you have spent some time with her. Where do you come down on this idea of whether she should be stripped of committee assignments?
Well, rather than me talking about what she may have said, I want to hear from her. So I flew down to Georgia with her on Air Force One, had a very pleasant experience with her, very cordial, very pleasant. So here's what I think she owes herself, quite frankly, her constituents in the country. Is that true? Was she misquoted? Was she taken out of context? I want to know, does she still believe that Sandy Hook's was faked, that 9/11 was an inside job, that there's a Jewish laser in the sky starting fires in California? I don't know. I know how words can be twisted. I know how you can be taken out of context. But rather than me talking about her, I would like her to be definitive. Did you believe that then? If you've changed your mind, why? What do you believe now? Then I will comment. But I'm going to give her a chance to come out and say definitively what she believes about all these events. And if she doesn't say anything, I think she's making a mistake for herself, her constituents, and quite frankly, the Congress.
But then the onus is on your party, right, Senator? Because you've got Karl Rove speaking out on this. He's saying that she's a problem for our party. He also agrees that she should be stripped of House assignments. She believes Jews control a space laser. So what kind of pressure is your party going to put on this?
All due respect, I don't care what Karl Rove thinks about what she said. I care about what she believes. And it's not an unreasonable thing to ask to Miss Congresswoman Greene. Tell us, are these statements in the past accurate? Were they taken out of context? What do you believe today about Sandy Hook, about 9/11?
What are you going to do about getting those answers, though? I mean, there's some urgency on this.
If she doesn't answer, she's doing herself a great disservice, and I would assume the reason she's not answering because it would be damning. I don't know. Is that too much to ask of her, quite frankly? If she believes that Sandy Hook was faked, then that would be incredibly disturbing because it wasn't. I was here during 9/11. Anybody who believes that was an inside job, not an act of terrorism, has lost their way. So if she actually believes this stuff, then yeah, there should be very severe consequences because she's out of touch with reality. But maybe she doesn't believe that. I want to hear from her. That's what I want to hear from.
What about Liz Cheney, Senator? She is being talked about maybe losing her leadership position. She's number 3 in the Republican caucus right now because she voted in favor of impeachment for the president. I remember a moment where you stood up in the Senate and you said, I've tried to help, but it's over. I mean, should she be punished for voting her conscience?
Well, it was a vote of a conscience, and all I can say is that she needs to reconcile herself with the conference. I don't agree with the impeachment process because it was done in 50 hours without a lawyer, not one witness being called. It's not exactly the model due process you'd want to impeach any president, whether you liked him or not. But having said that, I think Liz Cheney is an invaluable member of the Republican Party. No, I don't want her to go anywhere. I think she should stay in leadership from my point of view because her voice is very important for the Republican Party. She is one of the leading experts on national security of the entire party. I think she's a role model for young conservative women. She's a conservative across the board. So I think Liz Cheney is a valuable member of the Republican Party, and I disagree with her on impeachment.
As are you, sir. And we're heading into the impeachment trial for former President Trump next week. I would ask you, as your party continues to go down that road, or Democrats go down that road, and your party has to respond, what is the state of the Republican Party at this moment, Senator?
Well, I think the Republican Party is going to be very united around the idea that impeaching a president who lives in Florida, who's out of office, is unconstitutional. In the Constitution, it says the Chief Justice will preside over impeachments involving the president. Well, we don't have the Chief Justice in the Senate. We have Patrick Leahy. That tells you a lot. I think the founders intended when it came to presidential impeachments, not judges, but the highest form of impeachment, a president, that it would be done by a neutral person, the Chief Justice of the United States. Nobody, I think, ever envisioned a post-presidential impeachment. It will open up Pandora's box for the presidency. I think there'll be close to 47 or 48 votes for the idea that this is an unconstitutional exercise, but not enough to stop the case. Here's the question. If we fall short of 51 to dismiss the impeachment trial, what happens next?
Let me ask you about a specific part of President Trump's response, and this is the one dealing with Mike Pence and whether or not the president did try to interfere in the electoral count vote. In the response, the president's attorneys say, quote, "It is denied that President Trump intended to interfere with the counting of electoral votes." But let's go back and play this sound from the morning of January the 6th.
Mike Pence, I hope you're going to stand up for the good of our Constitution and for the good of our country. And if you're not, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I will tell you right now.
In your mind, Senator, is that or is that not trying to interfere with the electoral count?
Well, if being disappointed in somebody is a crime, we're all in trouble. I think the idea that Mike Pence had the power to unilaterally change the electoral count is absurd. It's the least conservative thing I can think of where you would believe that a single person of a particular party could actually change the outcome of the Electoral College. If that were true, Al Gore missed a great opportunity. So don't tell him that. He'll be pissed.
Senator, noted. As you look at the mounting number of executive actions that this new president has taken since he's been in office, it's safe to say dozens. We know it's exceeded 40 by now. You are taking on some of the changes that he is making, particularly undoing of some of the Trump administration policies. You tweeted out that finally Democrats should realize, in spite of their intense personal dislike for him, that what President Trump did in securing our border and reforming our asylum laws worked. Do you hear from any Democrats who are acknowledging that and perhaps willing to push the new administration on that?
I hear from a lot of my Democratic colleagues, I wouldn't say a lot, a handful, that are very worried that the changes that President Biden's making is going to lead to another wave of illegal immigration. When you do away with a stay in Mexico policy that Trump was able to achieve, where you have to wait in Mexico for your asylum date, when you start tearing down the wall, when you go back to, if you come here and claim asylum, you can stay, there's going to be a run on the border, and Democrats are going to own that. Here's what I think. These executive orders on energy and immigration are going to be the pathway back for the Republican Party in 2022. They took a program that was working, they chose to get rid of it, and they're going to pay a political price. I'm going to be all over this. I'm going to go to the border in a couple of weeks, and I want to hear from Border Patrol agents on the border itself to tell me if they think this is wise.
Senator, let me ask you about COVID relief, because the president had a meeting with the Democrat leaders in the Senate, including Chuck Schumer, who came out and said there is agreement, the universal agreement, we must go big and bold, we cannot dawdle, we cannot delay, we cannot dilute.
Yeah.
The president has said he thinks he can get some Republicans. What do you say?
I say you need to try it, Mr. President. You took the one area where there was unity. We have passed $4 trillion of spending in the last year, with the average vote being about 90 to 5 or 6. It's not like we can't work together on COVID. What changed? The Democrats got the House, the Senate, and the White House. They're destroying the one area we had unity fighting COVID. They want a $1.9 trillion package. We just passed a $900 billion package around Christmas. 20% of the money's been spent. Of the $4 trillion, about 40% of it hasn't been spent. Who thinks a $15 an hour minimum wage increase is going to help business when they're being shut down in terms of their revenue generation? So this is what we warned you about. We told you that if they get the House, the Senate, and the White House, they're going to ignore us and they're going to run wild with their liberal ideas. And this COVID package, I think, is running wild.
Senator, it's always great to see you, and we'll be seeing a lot of you next week. Thanks for joining us today.
Okay. And come back and visit us when you go to the border and report back. Thanks, Senator.
Yeah.